Emotionally drained, anxiety-induced, happy, sad, angry, and inspired. This is how I felt when watching Alex Garland's 2024 movie, Civil War. To give you a quick background, this is the synopsis of the film. A journey across a dystopian future America following a team of military embedded journalists as they race against time to reach Washington, D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House. The sound design is one of the most fantastic pieces of this movie, in my opinion. I want to compare it to a specific scene in 1995's Heat by Michael Mann, starring Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Val Kilmer. When you watch Civil War in a theater, the gunfire sounds like it's right next to your ear and like you're encased in it. Similar to the movie Heat, there's a specific scene in downtown LA in which Robert De Niro's character is robbing a bank and you can hear the gunfire bounce off the buildings. There is no muffler and there is no suppression like a lot of films try to do. This is extremely loud and uncontrollable. Be prepared. Here's an excerpt from director Alex Garland and what he said about it. A gun sound, in a way, is terrifying. A modern automatic rifle or a machine gun or 50 caliber machine gun, whatever it happens to be, these are machines that are constructed to kill. That is what they're there for. That is what they do in the incredible efficient fashion, and there's something sinister in the noise of something that really only exists for that purpose. So what we did was use exactly those noises. We used guns that fired blanks and we put full flash blanks in them, and we recorded that noise as faithfully as we could. That will include the sound of the gun, but also the way it reacts with objects around it. Alex Garland does a lot of these beats in his writing, from 28 Days Later to Annihilation to Ex Machina. It always seems like there's scenes in his movies that are very specifically somber and calm and just everything is working out, and then it turns into just a volatile, loud, and crazy environment. He really likes to create environments that are completely silent and then let sound design and music just lead it. There's a moment in the film where everything was calm and everyone was talking, and it cut to complete silence for a few seconds, and then the next scene was just boom, a jump scare of a gunshot. I actually jumped out of my chair a little bit when this happened. I thought the soundtrack choices were quite interesting and enjoyable on some pieces, from the burning napalm forest that lights up the main characters' faces with regret, while Sturgill Simpson's Breaker's Roar playing in the background, all the way up to De La Soul's Say No Go being used for a scene of the most brutality possible and the fate of some of the soldiers. The visual aspects were also stunning, from cinematographer Rob Hardy, who previously worked with Alex Garland on Ex Machina and Annihilation, so there's no surprise there that this looked great. I do want to point out the stylistic choice from an editing perspective and also a storytelling perspective to show the brutality of the moments going on in war. You get to experience what Kirsten Dunst and Kaylee Spaney's character are seeing from their lens with a 3 to 4 second black and white freeze frame of the pictures they are taking. I think despite showing the lack of choosing a side is actually a very good idea in this film. The perspective of the characters and the journalists really makes this a neutral film, which a lot of people don't want the film to do. They want you to choose a side. I like that Alex Garland wrote this, and it made me feel, and it might make you feel, that you get to choose whatever side you want to choose. You don't necessarily have to go to the right or have to go to the left. I like that. I personally was hopeful and excited in the last 20 minutes, but you might feel distraught and disgusted in the last 20 minutes. It's really up to you. Garland really does take an approach that war is awful and he does not want this to happen, and neither should you. He reiterates this in the imagery he uses, which is very Tarantino and Savage-like in a way. Going through each town from New York to the small town up to Washington, D.C. feels like you're in a zombie apocalypse or playing the game The Last of Us. The towns almost felt lawless, like they all govern themselves despite alliances or not. The set design does really well to convey this. My least favorite feeling I get is actually from the characters in the movie. Unfortunately, I didn't really connect with the characters, and there wasn't a character that really grasped my interest the entire time. It felt very interchangeable. Wagner Moore's character felt like he was trying to be a charming and likable guy in the movie, which he was at points, but then he also felt very sedated and suppressed by a lot of what journalists believe to just be completely neutral. It never felt like his character fully developed, and I really wanted that to happen. I feel like I couldn't empathize with Kirsten Dunst's character very well, but that's understandable because I believe this is for journalists and a love letter to journalists. Overall, you'll experience a wave of emotions depending on your beliefs. Like I said, the last 20 minutes of Civil War, I was hopeful. I do absolutely recommend you check this movie out in theaters just for the sound design alone. The story is up to you to decide which side you are on, or if there even is a side to this dystopian internal conflict.